Hello, everybody. Welcome back to How Was the Race with Miguel Drew. Today, we're going to be speaking on the Wabash Trace Nature Trail Marathon in Shenandoah, Iowa. This is a smaller trail race. This is a smaller race. I'm sorry, not necessarily a trail race in Shenandoah. Shenandoah, Iowa is about an hour and a half southeast of Omaha, Nebraska. Today's featured beer is going to be a common corn star from Full Fledged Brewery in Council Bluffs, Iowa. This is a 4.8% ABV, 15 IBU, Kentucky Common Style. It's a historic style of beer that's more keen to pre-prohibition. This is going to be a nice, flavorful, easy drinking beer. We're going to enjoy this as we talk with Julia about the Wabash Nature Trail Race. Julia has completed 332 marathons. She's on her fourth go around of the 50 states. She has 3 states left to go, and she'll be finishing in November. Julia and we have ran together in Air Force Marathon, Chicago Marathon, Monumental Marathon in Indianapolis, the Derby Marathon in Louisville, Kentucky, Go St. Louis in, well, St. Louis, Seven Bridges in Chattanooga, Tennessee, Cowtown Marathon in Fort Worth, Texas, and the Hartford Marathon in Hartford, Connecticut. Uh, we didn't necessarily run shoulder to shoulder. However, we did run those races together. And actually, in the 2019 Chicago Marathon, I had met her at the 2019 Air Force Marathon. I was running the half, she was running the full. And then I found out that she was pacing Chicago, which I had gotten into that year. And I was hoping to catch her. However, I was in the wrong corral and I ended up meeting Heather. Heather was on the podcast for the Heartland Series Day 3 in Portage, Indiana. That was released a few weeks ago as of this recording, which I'm not sure when this recording will be released. So let's go ahead and enjoy the beer and let's talk about the Wabash Trace Nature Trail Marathon. So, Julia, how did you come to learn of this race?
Well, I learned about this race about 5 years ago. It was during the pandemic, and I was scheduled to do a much bigger race, but of course it got canceled for obvious reasons. And my good friend Michelle, who lives in Indiana, she's also a crazy marathon maniac friend of ours, Michelle Moreland Walker, suggested this race because it had less than 200 participants in total. It was likely to be held. So I changed my plans and off I went to Omaha, where she picked me up at the airport and we drove for maybe an hour till we got to the race. And I'm so glad I did it because I didn't expect it. I didn't know anything about it. But when I was there, I was grateful because the race is really pretty. The trees are canopied and the trail is so inviting. You know, it's soft, crushed, like little tiny rocks, little baby gravel rocks. I don't know what to call them.
Oh, okay.
It's a
Was
converted rails to trail, they call it.
was the gravel more? I think that count. What's at least in Indiana we call that hard pack. So it's not loose gravel, but it's yeah, it's hard packed. Probably a little bit of grass growing up through it, but not a whole lot of grass. That's
The
that.
actual trail is gravel as far as I'm concerned. You go over certain highways where it's asphalt, but
Okay.
90% of the trail is shaded and it's soft, crushed, packed dirt with lots of little rocks on it.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to get more in detail on the course itself and um, as you go down the mileage. But let's circle back to so so Michelle was gracious enough to pick you up from the airport and bring you over there. Shout out to Michelle. Thank you. I'm I I don't want to say whether or not I know her because my memory is terrible. So I might know her, I might not. I'll find out. Maybe I'll see her at Monumental and she'll be
Maybe
like,
she'll be your next guest.
maybe that'd be wonderful. So, the registration process, does it use one of the, do you recall does it use like go sign up or get me registered, or
I
do you
think
even
it's get me
recall?
registered. I don't remember exactly as we do as many races as we do, you forget. But it
Yeah.
was seamless. I remember that
Okay. And that's the thing. If you don't remember the registration process, it was probably a nice, easy process.
because I'm already in the system because I've done hundreds and hundreds of them. Once I go to the link, it already knows all my information.
It makes it real simple that way. So, okay, so we registered for the race. Between the registration and race day, how are the emails? Are you inundated with the emails? Not many emails? How's communication with the race?
Registration was just right. We got an email telling us that we were registered, and a few days before, we got an email giving us all the instructions where to packet pick up and what time the races are, what time the buses are. And it was pretty simple, just one email telling us about the race, the week of the race.
Okay, so that sounds that sounds nice and easy enough there. Um, where was the where was the expo held? Do you recall?
The expo is held in like I remember specifically it's a commerce. It's like their town commerce center where all their meetings take place. I don't remember the exact address, but it's like city commerce or something like that.
Okay, we had spoke about this before. I don't before we start recording. The town itself is a little bit smaller of a town. With it being only a 200 person marathon, you would kind of assume it'd be a smaller town. What was the population of Shenandoah? You say it's probably
Five,
like
a
five?
little under 5,000. And let me just tell you, the 200 people, that includes the marathon, the half, and the relay.
Oh, oh wow. So
So
this is
it's
a very
really
small
small.
race.
Yes, it's very easy
Okay.
place.
Was there any hotels nearby?
Yes, I stayed in a hotel. There were three hotels, all within walking distance, and I stayed in a hotel and we walked about a quarter mile to the start.
Okay. I'm getting out of order here. Okay, so I started asking about the expo, but I didn't ask the 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 things available at the expo, because as we've been to different expos, some expos, the Jim Thorpe Marathon, Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, it's held at a coffee shop, and there's nothing to buy except for coffee. And then you have Chicago Marathon, which Hoka, Nike, um, On Cloud, everybody's there. Nathan water bottles, you name it, they have it. This expo, being a smaller town, being a small race, I wouldn't assume it'd be a large amount of vendors there. But
No, they were
was there
just
any
local
vendors?
people. No vendors.
Okay.
They were just local people giving out water bottles and sunglasses, and they were free. And somebody was there giving out t-shirts. They had not just t-shirts for this year, which I got, but they had t-shirts for previous years that they had extras of. I didn't take any, but it'd be good to have if it was a cold day and you needed an extra shirt.
Okay. And this is a September race, by the way.
It
Do you know
was
if it's
not.
always it's not a September race?
No, no, I said it was not a cold day.
Oh, okay. But being in the Midwest, it could be 90 degrees or it could be 50 degrees.
Exactly. You never know what you're going to get.
Do you know if Shenandoah do you happen to know if Shenandoah has a local running store or even a box store?
I do not. I was only there for the race and then I went back to Omaha to catch my flight.
Okay. Well, with Omaha being only an hour away, the because the reason I ask is when I went to Utah to run the Pioneer Day Marathon, Deseret News Marathon, more accurately, I had forgotten my shorts at home. So I was on the airplane, and all of a sudden I had this moment of realization that I didn't have running shorts. So when I got to the race, well, when I got to the city of Salt Lake, I found an REI and I jumped in there. And I'm a bigger guy, by the way, so I don't always, when it comes to like running shorts, I don't always go to local running stores because my size is not always available, and I knew REI would have what I my size. So especially since I had my son with me and everything. I didn't want to waste time. I wanted to go to one store, knock it out. Otherwise, I try to shop local, help out the small guy.
You would have been SOL because there was nothing at this expo except t-shirts and glues, gels, in case you forgot your gels.
Mm, okay. So we're at the hotel and we wake up race day morning, lace up your shoes. Is there a bag drop off? Is there a bag check? Is there
Yes, there was, but I tend not to use one because the hotel is so close. There was a bus to take you to the halfway point where the halfers started, and there was a lot of commotion there. So I'm sure there was a place to drop off, but I didn't.
okay. Was this a point to point race or is this a loop?
Out and back.
And
We
oh
got to
my.
the 13-mile mark and we turned around and we came right back on the trace. And the trace is so lovely. I can't wait to go into it.
Okay. So okay, we're going in race day morning, lace up, 200 runners. I assume the porta pot situation is well a good balance.
There were a couple at the start, and I saw two as I was running throughout. But, to be honest, you're in the woods.
Yeah, and I think that was a similar situation with the Jim Thorpe Marathon because that's a rail trail as well. So you're in the woods. It's
It's very nature-esque. You just have to embrace it.
exactly. Okay, so the race starts and you're going out. Being in Iowa, is this let's go through, it's an out and back. Is it relatively, the race starts, you're starting out, take me through the first, well, I guess really I was going to say the first 10 miles or so, but the first 13 is the same as the last 13. But
Yes.
h- how is the tree cover? Because shade, especially if you're a 4 hour runner or a 6 hour runner, especially as the day progresses, it gets warmer typically. I mean, that's just how weather normally works. But however, shade is a wonderful thing, and being a rail trail, a lot of rail trails are shaded. How is this tree cover? I remember you spoke of it earlier with the canopy.
I would say the trail is more than 80% shaded and canopied trees. You're going in and out of actual roads, and then you have open, like a normal highway road, and then you're on asphalt, but you're going right back into the trace trail and you're going back into the canopy trees, which are so lovely. They're giant. And similar to the Jack and Jill race, like you're in the
Mm.
woods, except there's no mountains, except there's only cornfields and soybean fields. I don't know, fields of other things I know nothing about because I'm not a farm girl. I'm a New York City girl. But I appreciate the nature. Everywhere you look, it's just fields and fields and fields. And that movie, you know, he said, if you build it, they will come. That movie, Field of Dreams,
Yes.
that's all I kept thinking, looking out into those fields. There were a couple of water crossings as you pass by little bridges that are lovely. And there's a lot of highways that you're passing by. Maybe every couple of miles or so, you're passing a road. Not every couple, maybe every 5K. That sounds right. But the first 2 miles, you're on asphalt because you're in the town. And then you turn a hard left into the trail. And then you get enveloped into these giant trees. It's like you went into some story tale. And like I said, it's crushed, packed dirt, which my body is so grateful for. Living in New York City, I don't get that. I usually have asphalt to run on. So my knees and my ankles and my hips were very grateful, which is why I remembered it as such a sweet race to come back to. And around mile 2.5, just as we entered the trail, there's a water station. It's just local people giving you water, and they're very supportive. And every 2 miles, there was another water station. And they didn't just have water. One station I remember particularly had eggs and bacon and pickles. I mean, it was like going to somebody's house.
Oh wow, eggs, bacon. That would be that'd be wonderful on a race. I mean, especially get to enjoy that for a little bit. That'd be wonderful.
But
So,
having sit out, sorry, having people sit out on their little stoops and welcome you and cheer for you and make signs for you and go complete stranger, it's so welcoming.
it really is. I remember when I did Whiskey Daddle, which is a race that no longer exists, Peoria, Illinois. I was running the first time I ran that race. I ran past this. It was a beautiful home, probably around the 7 mile mark or so, but it started out near the river and then you go up to the campus. There's a university there, and there's a home on the corner, and they were having a party. And I was like, what's the party for? There's like for you. For me? There's like, yeah, go you, go you. And I was like, wow. And then the second time I ran that race, they were having a party again for us. And it does make it a little more, you remember those things. You remember when the community comes out and supports you, even the small. I forget the exact quote, so I'm going to butcher it, but no act of kindness, no matter how small, is unappreciated. And
Because the race is so small, there's not a lot of people to talk to. I'm by myself most of the time. And I actually kind of appreciate that because I live in a big jungle and there's always people around me. I run to get away from people. But for 5 hours is a long time to be by yourself. So you're very welcomed when you cross a little patch where there's people with signs for you and giving you love.
okay, so so we're going out. We're on the trail. We make the left. You have the aid station there. You're going out on the out and back, and you have some sections that you are on asphalt or well, yeah, asphalt, concrete. But most of the trail, you're going most of the way, about 9%, you said, you're going to be on that hard pack, which would be very comforting to yeah, your knees, ankles, and hips would would thank you later for that one. Um, do you remember? Are there any, being that it's on the trail that's there year round? Were there any full flush bathrooms along the course?
No,
Okay, so I know where I run, there's one full flush toilet on the we have a it's five, well, either way, there's one full flush toilet, and then if you go another 15 miles or so, there's another full flush toilet. But all the others, you would have to know where the bathrooms and such are, which as a local, that's not an issue. But was there many porta pots along the course, or was you just left to your own devices?
just two at the turnaround point and at the start.
Oh, okay. That's a well, I mean, the woods are there, so if you're comfortable ducking into the woods and
Maybe
handling
there
your
were, but
business.
I didn't need them, so I didn't see them, and I was enthralled with the woods. I don't
Mm,
recall there being more than just those two.
okay, okay. Was there? You said the community comes out. Were there other aid stations in general, or do you recall?
Yes.
Okay.
Every 2 miles, we had water and Gatorade and snacks. And of course, there's other snacks. I just don't partake in them, but there's cookies and there's sweets. I just personally choose not to do that kind of food because my stomach's not used to it. I don't want to do anything new on race day. That's why I was so grateful when I saw the couple with real food, like it was from their own kitchen. It was potatoes and bacon and eggs and pickles, which is my favorite because it was a hot day. That was very welcomed.
Mm. Pickles are really for anybody out there. Try pickles on a race day, or not a race day. No, don't try it on a race day. I take that back.
Nothing new on race day.
On a longer run day.
Training
So
run.
yeah, like your longer training run. Have some pickles and maybe sit them somewhere, and then like run, come back, grab a pickle, eat a pickle, maybe drink a little bit of the pickle juice, like maybe a shot glass or two worth, and then run another 2 miles. and that'll give you a feeling for how your body might handle that.
The pickle juice is magic on a hot day, and it was a hot day. Are you ready for this?
I believe so.
It was 94 degrees and 60% humidity.
Okay, the humidity is not that bad, but the 94 degrees, oh my word.
It was thick. It was like running through molasses.
Oh gosh, that'd be taxing. That'd be very taxing. Uh, okay, so with that being a hotter race and looking at the conditions, because I said this in my other episodes of the podcast, the your cutoff times are sometimes dictated by permits and road closures. And say you're in Chicago Marathon, they have a very strict road closure because the permits are, this intersection must open by this time, so on and so forth. But when you go to a smaller race, if it's on asphalt, they might be a little more generous because the sheriff or the chief of police, he's the trail car, and he says when the road's going to open back up, and gosh darn it, he's going to let this person finish. But then when you get to something like this, where it's a trail race and you're on this rail trail, I wouldn't imagine there'd be a lot of permits that need to be pulled to have road closures. So that was a long way to get around to asking, how are the cutoffs for this race? Do you know if they're a hard cutoff? Is there a 6 hour limit, 8 hour limit?
I think there is a 6 hour limit. They said they were going to open up the roads at 1:30, but I don't see it being a hard cutoff because everyone was out cheering you on and everyone knew what a hot day it was. I personally finished at 5:30, but I'm pretty sure if you were a slower runner, you would have definitely had time to finish because there were people on the road who were dictating which way you should go as you got back into town and everyone was around cheering for you. I don't see them stopping it.
Okay.
The
And
town
that's
came together and really wanted to see you succeed. And there were people giving out ice pops. Little kids
mm,
were giving out ice, just cups of ice, because it got to be so warm. I don't see them crossing you off and saying, no, you're done. I would see them running along beside you and saying, yes, 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 you can, you can, you can.
oh, that's awesome. That's amazing. And that's and you don't always get those at the larger races. Um, don't get me wrong, I enjoy a large race. Cowtown is a very large race. I enjoyed that race. However, I wouldn't expect that same. I don't know the right verb to put on it, but I wouldn't expect that same attitude or whatever. I don't want to say the wrong word, but I wouldn't expect that same result out of a larger race. And that's one of the good things about going to these smaller races.
With so few people and so few cars, there's a lot less closures that they have to enforce. The whole town is out there supporting you instead of doing their own thing, trying to get around you.
Now, I will say, there's a cost associated with permits, and if there's 5,000 people and 100 permits need to pull, then that's 5,000 people who help pay for each one of those permits. But if there's only 200 people, like we have here, but there's only 5 permits, then I don't know. I did the math horribly, but there's still a cost associated per person per permit. I didn't even ask this in the beginning. Uh, are you familiar with how much the race costs to register, or do you remember?
I'm pretty sure it was about $100, maybe 120 because of all the fees that come along with Athlinks or register. But it was nominal. It wasn't a huge, it wasn't like a New York City marathon, which is almost $300.
Yeah, they get the Chicago. I think was 350 last year or something. Yeah, they
And
get
it's a
steep.
good rate because I'm a New York road runner, so I get a special rate. But I think if you're coming in from out of town, it might be 400.
Yeah, so
New York.
that's a yeah 400. But there's reasons we're not going to get into that now. um, yeah,
It,
there's.
It was
I'm
a
sorry.
small town, so it was a small town fee race, but I think it was worth every penny, honestly, because they do so much for you. At the start of the race, they announced all the sponsors, and I got third in my age group, so out of five. So I got a little packet, and inside the packet, you can get this store, this store, this store, this store. They were giving out so many freebies. Unfortunately, I had to go to the airport and I couldn't partake in my free coffee and I couldn't partake in my free donut. But I know that a lot of the town came together to sponsor us, and that really felt welcoming. And my husband, Shane, he was third male overall. He actually ran super fast that day. Some of us are bothered by the heat, like me. Others are fueled by it. They just seem to eat the fire and use it as fuel.
Okay. So the being Iowa, northern Iowa, that was a fairly flat course, I imagine.
Also, because it's a rails to trail, which is mostly flat. I had tiny, tiny bit of gain as you're going over the highway, but other than that, it was flat.
Okay. So how was okay, so we're going out, we go out, we come back, mostly that hard pack, which is really nice on the joints, which you love. We have nice aid stations.
Every 2 miles, sometimes even in between, as local people would set up their trucks and give out
Mm.
ice pops and bottles of water, knowing that we're out there sweltering to death.
So how was the okay, so we're coming back in. We made a left earlier, so now we make a right, because that's how it works typically. We're coming back to the finish. How is the finish area?
Well, because I was out there much longer than I usually am, I started doing math. I was calculating. I was like doing math, thinking, am I going to miss cutoff? I've never been on the trail so long before. I was really scared I was going to make miss my cutoff. But in all that calculation I was doing, I missed all the people screaming, yay, yay, this way, come this way, directing me. It's about 2 miles out to get to the trail, and in return, it's about 2 miles back. And you're going around certain blocks, and people are still out there. I was surprised. It's almost 1 o'clock or almost 2 o'clock, excuse me. And it was really hot. I was surprised how many people were still out there cheering for you when they could be in home in air conditioning, drinking iced teas.
Okay. Um, how was the medal for the race?
The metal is gorgeous. I want to show it to you. It's glass. It's so pretty.
Oh wow. Oh, that is a very pretty medal.
Can you see the foot?
Yes.
The
The
same
foot.
foot, the same foot was on the trail, so it told us where to go
Oh, okay.
on the ground.
That's a the if you go to the website and you look at the logo for well, if you look at the website, the 2025 Wabash Trace Nature Trail Marathon, right there, there's a foot on that, and that's the same foot that's on the glass medal.
There was a foot on the ground like every mile, so you can follow the foot.
Okay, that's really neat. I like that.
The first time I did it 5 years ago, our metal was also a foot, but it was a wooden foot. Same design, but instead of a glass metal, this is real glass. Instead of a glass metal, it was an actual little piece of wood, which I thought was very unique because, we get so many metals. It's nice to get a unique metal.
It is. It really is. It, I I ran a few races that were smaller and they had more of a generic medal, and it was nice to finish the race. It's nice to get a medal around your neck. I was still proud to have the medal. However, it's less of a highlight or less of a showpiece. But at the same
Especially
time,
when they reuse the same metal every year and they just change the date, it just seems I have a bunch of those. It just seems so generic. But this, you could tell that they put a lot of thought into it and it's different from the previous one and it's unique and it's also lovely.
that's well, we I the pro football marathon. Have you ever ran that one in Canton, Ohio?
No.
Their finisher's medal was an oversized ring because it's the Pro Football Hall of Fame marathon and half marathon relay 5K. Um, but their finisher's medal for the half and full was a oversized ring, and it's in my it's on my wall right now. It's I'm not going to go. It would take forever to get it off the wall. Oh, you can kind of see my wall behind me.
Yes,
I just
the
realized
wall is
that.
very impressive behind you.
But it's that medal was, and that actually got a friend of mine speaking. I was talking about that medal and everything. And he wanted to start running partially because he wanted that ring. And he didn't realize it. He thought it was a ring on your finger. And I let him think that until he was committed mentally. And then once he was committed mentally, then I broke the news that it was not a ring you put on your finger, but an oversized ring. But he was already, he had already bought in. He was already there. So I let him, I let him do that. And then that was his first. He actually ran he completed 2 5Ks that weekend. He did one for the relay to get the medal, the ring, but he did the draft day 5K the day before, and you get, I believe that medal looks like an admittance ticket to like a football game. So
I don't do it for the medal, to be honest, but it's nice to have a unique medal because when you look at it, it brings back all the memories of the race.
yes, yes, and that's why I see you have yours on the wall behind you. Mine is on my wall in my garage. Every time I come into my house, every time I come into my garage, it's a little reminder, and it's a nice thing to have those there.
They all blend into each other, but when you have a unique one, it stands out and it makes you remember.
Yes. So, did they have any food actually at the race area? Or I assume they probably had bananas, water,
Yes,
maybe
they had the
donuts.
usual chips, banana, water, and a chocolate milk and free beer.
Hey, we do love that here.
But the nicest touch, I don't know if that's your next question, but the nicest touch is even though we only had a handful of people, we had free race photos and they were professional photos. They look great.
Yes, free race photos are, oh gosh, I love free race photos. You don't get them as often as you should. Well, yeah.
There was, of course, at the start and the finish and the turnaround point, a photographer saying hi and catching you doing whatever it is you're doing.
I always, as I pace races, especially the paces that I'm doing now, which I promote for all paces, but I do intervals of a run, walk, run strategy. And anytime I see a race photographer, even if it's a walk interval, we always run for the photos, run for the photos. So we we kick it into high gear and we act like we're really running and really going at it. And then after we pass a photographer, okay, we have a longer longer interval of walking down.
That's funny. Well, that's also how we know each other. I pace races all the time, and I try at this round to always find races to pace, but it was so small it didn't need pacers.
Okay, that's yes, we yeah, that is how, and some small races have pacers, but at 200, if you had 5 pacers, you're really, yeah, it's a the pace runner to pacer ratio would be really off.
And those 200, as I said, it includes the relay and the half. So I don't think there are more than 50 marathoners.
Oh wow. So yeah, so if you had 5 pacers, 50, even if you had 70 runners, that's a really hard ratio. Really, yeah, you're almost having personal pacers at that point.
And the trail is very small. I mean, you only have room for two people to go on either side. The trail isn't very wide. So you can't have a group all around you. You know, when I'm pacing in a big city like Chicago or New York or London, I have a huge group around me and it's like we're in a funnel. And this was just a tiny little trail. You only have one person going one way and one person going back. And I appreciate that. It makes me feel like I'm a deer in the woods.
Okay, so with this race, I know you said you had to go back to the airport afterwards, almost immediately. Did you stop and celebrate? Did you have something to eat locally that you remember or anything?
Unfortunately, I ran much longer than I thought I would, and I had to race back to the airport. But my husband and my friend Aaron Stevens was with me.
Oh,
They had
yes.
sandwiches for me waiting at the car because we had to get back into the car and book it back to Omaha.
I I've met your husband before, and he's a great guy, and Aaron, he's a great guy. That is definitely something that for them. I think that'd be a normal thing to take care of the third person, and get us back in.
We're all runners and we know what it's like, and we all take care of each other. And if I can just add two words, my husband Shane was third male overall, first in his age group, and he got a packet of all these freebies, free this, free this, free this. Unfortunately, we couldn't use any of it, so
Oh,
we left it on the picnic table, hoping that some local runner could pick it up.
yeah.
The
One,
town just did so much for us for such a small race. It's like every town community owner of a store gave something to us.
that's really wonderful. I might have to add that because that's not too far from where I live. Um, it's further than I can't drive there and back same day and do the race.
It was so easy logistically. There are a couple of hotels right at the start. They're
Yeah.
very inexpensive. I'm comparing everything to where I live. The race is inexpensive and you get so much for it. The love from the people, the support, the aid stations were plentiful. The only thing wrong with it was the weather, but we can't predict what Mother Nature is going to do.
You really cannot.
That's why
Um,
we run and train in all weather because you never know what you're going to get on race day.
you and I ran Chicago together in 22 and 23, and in 22, I believe it was, the world record was set for the male marathon time. And the weather at the start, I think the whole race was probably like 60 degrees or so, maybe 58, and the cloud like a light overcast. But then the same weekend, the next year, which would have been 24, so it was 23, 24. 24, it was hot. It was 75, 85 degrees, no cloud to be found anywhere in the sky, and it's
And
the same exact
humid.
race.
I remember it was so humid. I like to take a picture of my medal with all the buildings, and I put the building's medal up, and you couldn't see anything except clouds because it was so humid.
Mm. Yeah, so that's the and that's the thing. You have to adjust your expectations for the conditions. Um, you might be training and everything's going perfect in training, and you're ready to go out for a PR type of day, and then you show up on race day and it's at 94 degrees and humid. Well, you probably shouldn't. Derby in 23, what year is this? This is 25. 24 Derby, two people had a heart attack and many people went to the med tent. One gentleman, he had a heart attack within sight of the finish line.
Hmm. That is,
Another,
I hope he made it. I hope he wasn't a casualty.
from what I understand, he lived.
Oh, thank goodness.
So
I think
he,
we all do this. We all kind of speed up when we see the finish line because we're so excited to get there. But if we're not 100%, if our heart is working as hard as possible, and then we put the gear, that fifth gear that we didn't know we had, and then we step on the gas and our heart, God forbid, works too hard, well, then you have the medical tent.
yes, which I hope the only time I see the med tent is to give him high fives. But at the same time, I'm very grateful that they are there. And that's also when you're paying when you look at your registration fees and you're mad that it costs X amount of dollars, do realize that the race has generally they will have med people there, and they will have CMAs or CNAs, your nursing staff, different RNs, or I forget what they're classified as, and then you also have full-fledged doctors that might be there, or paramedics and doctors that are on duty, and they have their equipment, they have the tent, they have the cots, they have everything. So realize that part of your registration cost is basically an insurance, a health insurance uh, fee,
Well, we all
which
sign a waiver that we're responsible for our own health. We're adults, but it's so nice to know that if God forbid you need it, there is someone there who's trained and can help you and who can take care of you right away.
yes. But if you know things aren't going well, slow down, please.
That's exactly what I did. I slowed down a good 30 minutes longer than I typically do. I went into a run walk because the heat came out in full force and Mother Nature was not kidding around. She was an angry bitch that day.
Okay, well, okay. Now, two we have two questions that we always ask that are unassociated with the race in particular. What shoes do you run in?
I am a minimalist runner. I ran in ultras. I ran in my trail shoes, but I typically am a road runner. And I used those trail shoes when I lived in Oregon quite often, and I was surprised how they still fit perfectly. They were ultra trail shoes. I don't remember what brand, but they were at least 6 years old
Oh,
because
okay.
I don't live in a trail area. I don't get to use them very often.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. And then what watch do you use?
I have a Garmin. I believe it's 915 or 910 or 920, but it's a water and land Garmin, which is great because my husband does triathlons. He chose it for me. And I
Okay.
like it because it lasts a really long time. He bought it for me as a present for my last ultra, which was a few years back. It was a 24-hour race, and I needed the watch to last a really long time. That's why he got me that triathlon one.
Okay. The reason I ask that is a lot of people, they'll come to me during at the expo or at the beginning of a race, and they'll ask, well, what shoes do you run in? And I run in Hoka Gaviotas, Brooks Adrenaline GTS, the A6. It turns out it's not the A6 Glycerin. I kept saying A6 Glycerin, and it's not. It's a different A6 shoe that I cannot pronounce, and it's a wide shoe. I switched to using wides, and during marathons, I actually prefer the wide shoe. Um, the thing is I run into shoes that fit my feet, and Julia, she runs into shoes that fit her feet. Um, we had on a friend of mine that he runs in Nike Vapor, Nike Next Percent, I believe it is. Peter with the Air Force Marathon. He runs in the Nike Next Percent, and I believe Julia. Um, that episode hasn't came out yet, but I believe she also no, not Julia. I'm speaking of Julia.
I know
Janelle.
who you mean, Janelle.
Janelle. There's another J. I was close. I was in the right file in the Rolodex. Um, Janelle, she also runs in Nikes, and I have ran a total of 3 miles in Nikes. So just because what works for one person doesn't mean it'll work for another. Now that it's good advice, kind of, because you'll find out that a lot of people don't run in this particular brand, and that might be because of different reasons. I don't run in Skechers. I bought Skechers once, and their motion control shoes were garbage, and I never bought another pair of Skechers. They came out with another pair. I said, well, let me try them out for a few miles. And they said, no. And I said, well, then no, I'm not going to invest $150 you know. But the thing is what I'm getting at mainly, go to the local running store, find the shoes that fit your feet. As far as what device you wear, my device, I wear a Garmin 965. It's about it came out in 24, in spring of 24. Just going off of the number series, the 910 or 915, it's probably a watch that came out around 18 or 19, 2018, 2019, probably. However, Julia's faster than I am. And Brandon, he was on the episode with Heather with the Heartland series. He runs with his phone. That's his tracking device, and he's faster than I am. So don't think that automatically a fast you have to get a better watch, you have to get a certain pair of shoes because you don't. As Jill said in the Eugene Marathon, all you need is a good pair of shoes and a positive attitude.
Absolutely. Shoes and watches and all these other gadgets are so subjective. It's like diet. There are differences that are far greater than any one of us. You have to live in the nuances and the differences and figure out what works for you. And that's what training is about for me, figuring out what works best for me, not what works best for my friend, not what works best for this famous runner, but works best for me. And I'm a minimalist runner. I love to feel my feet hit the ground. It's this process called splay when your feet hit the ground and you can feel the nuances of the ground underneath you. And that's why I love trails so much.
Okay. Now you've ran this race twice already. Would you run this race? I assume, but would you run this race again?
In a heartbeat. That's why I'm choosing it as one of my favorite small races. I would run it again in a heartbeat, but if only Mother Nature can call me and tell me what the weather's going to be like.
If only we knew that it was and the forecast stuck to the forecast.
Because the first time I ran it, it was in the 60s and it was lovely and I had a great day. And just 2 days ago, I ran it and it was 94. It was a hot, awful day. And I kept asking myself, why am I doing this to myself? But ultimately, when you wake up the next day and you look at your medal and you think about your memories, you have amnesia. All you think about are the good things.
Always somebody asked me before about that. I said, I wear my medal all day. It's especially while I'm in that town. I wear it. I wear it to the restaurant. I wear it to go to the, anywhere I'm going. If I'm going to, well, I'm going to go to a brewery, but a brewery, a restaurant, as I go to the airport, if I go to get gas, I'm wearing that airport, that medal all around that city, that town, that day. And I go to, I don't literally, but you go to bed wearing that medal, and you wake up and magically you've registered for another race already. Like you feel so horrible. Everything hurts, and you just want to cut your leg off or something. But then you just wear that medal, and you brush your teeth with the medal on and looking at it. You take a shower and get the medal. You're looking at it, and you wear it around, and people will randomly, oh, did you run the race today? Oh yeah, I did. Oh, you saw my medal, and it just brings it brings a certain joy of accomplishment, and magically you'll find that in the middle of the night somehow your thumbs went to working on your phone and you've registered for another race somehow. It's weird how it happens.
I think that that pain is good. People think that pain is bad, but really the pain is a reminder that you're human and you can feel things. And then the next day when you wake up and you don't feel the pain, all you feel is the pride. The pain has been taken over by something much deeper, a sense of accomplishment and a sense of fulfillment and pride, knowing that you can do hard things. And you can take that into every aspect of your life. It's not just about the running. When I have a conversation with my mother-in-law, I remember that I can do hard things.
We'll block Shane from that part of the segment. Okay.
That is not, this is what I tell all my coaching clients. The medal isn't a representation of your 26.2 miles. The medal is for the 4 months that you spent training while you were out there doing it day after day, week after week, month after month, while nobody was out there and nobody was applauding for you. That's what the medal is for.
Yes. The marathon is a victory lap.
Yes.
So, okay. Oh, now we have added a lot of insights and perspectives, but is there anything in addition that you would like to add?
Hmm. I am so grateful. Grateful that my body can do this, that I have the ability to go out and run when I want to and enjoy Mother Nature. So even on a hot day like it was, or on a bitter cold day, or on a really wet day, which has happened many times. I lived in Oregon for 5 years. Every run I get to do, every finish line I get to cross, I just say thank you. I have a profound, deep gratitude for my body and its ability to persevere. And I just, every time I cross the finish line, even though I've done it 332 times now, I have tears of joy in my eyes and pride in my heart. So I just say enjoy the run because you never know how many of them you have.
That's very true. That's very true. I would I would like to thank you again, Julia, for coming on and uh, speaking with us about the Wabash Trace Nature Trail Marathon. Um, for everybody at home listening, be sure to check out the show notes. I'll have a link to the page for the marathon. I'll have to also have a link for the common corn star from full full-fledged brewery in Council Bluffs, Iowa. I'll also have a link for Julia's bio, and I believe she has a book, and that will also be in the. Oh no,
That's Tom.
I thought you had a book as well.
No, I'm working on it. I'm busy
Oh,
working on it.
I'm sorry. Okay, we'll edit that part.
You're thinking of Pacer Tom Perry. He has a book.
He does. He does. I thought. Okay,
I'm in it though. I gave a large contribution to him and I have at least 6 pages in that book. But no, I'm still working on my book. But thank
okay.
you for the reminder to go back to working on it.
So I have a link to. We'll have a link to Julia's bio and her information if you'd like to follow her. If you could, please remember to like, subscribe, tell a friend, and remember that Ford is a pace, and and remember to run the race you're in, and Ford is a pace.
Thank you so much for having me on your show, my friend.
Thank you.